The wait is over. Young Sherlock has finally been released. But the question is not how Sherlock became a genius. The question is, who broke him to make him a genius? A little sister, Beatrice, who just vanished one day. A mother who was never the same after that day. A dark cell in a jail where a new mind was born. And a friend, James, who was not just a friend. This is not just the story of a detective. This is the origin story of a broken mind. How did a thief become the future's most dangerous detective? How could a brother not save his sister? And how did one friendship change everything? This series is more a psychological war than a mystery. This is the birth of a mind. Let's begin. The story begins with us seeing a little girl fishing with her dad. Right there, we see her brother, who lived in his own world from the very beginning. This boy is Sherlock. His little sister, Beatrice, wants to play with him and asks her mother, "Mommy, can I play with Sherlock?" But Sherlock used to stay away from everyone and wouldn't play. But suddenly, a family tragedy happens. Beatrice goes missing somewhere. Panic ensues in the house. Everyone starts searching for her. During this tension, his sister falls. Little Sherlock could clearly hear his mother screaming, "Please wake up," but she doesn't wake up. After that, we directly see Sherlock, who is locked in a jail, and seeing him, it seemed like he had been in jail for a long time. What actually happened to him that he has been in jail for so many years? We will find out the reason for this later. Then the scene shifts to some time earlier. After this, the scene shifts to Newgate Prison in London. Here, we see Sherlock, who is in jail. A large prisoner attacks him, but in the meantime, his brother Mycroft arrives there and controls the situation. A discussion is going on in court about which crime Sherlock has been caught for this time. It is revealed that he had taken a wallet from a man's pocket, but the interesting thing is that he was also returning that wallet. Sherlock says that taking a wallet from a pocket is easy, but putting it back is difficult, and when he tried to put it back, people thought he was a thief. The judge also considers deporting him to Australia, but Sherlock cites the law, the Penal Servitude Act 1957, and explains that sending him to Australia is not legally possible. The judge, annoyed by his words, keeps increasing his sentence for contempt, 2 months, 3 months, and then up to 6 months. After getting out of jail, there's a light-hearted joke between Sherlock and Mycroft. Mycroft asks how the jail food was. Sherlock jokes that there were too many weevils in the porridge, but the claret was good. Then, Mycroft tells him that he has secured a place for Sherlock at Oxford. He says that the old colleges, like Balliol and Merton, did not accept him, so now he has got the college from 1458. Sherlock is surprised. Before that, they go to meet his mother, who is in a mental asylum, meaning the grief of losing her daughter had driven her mad. The mother recognizes him and asks if the 3 months were difficult. Sherlock says he learned a lot. The mother says that people are listening to her. There's always a buzzing sound, and there's a man with bird-like claws who will come back to get her. Sherlock comforts her, saying he is going to Oxford and will visit her more often. The mother makes him promise that he won't get into trouble. Sherlock promises. But upon reaching Oxford, a twist comes. Sherlock is given an apron. He finds out that he has not been hired as a student, but as a servant. When he asks what a servant does, the answer is, whatever you are told, and he is sent off to clean toilets. Another important part of the story is shown. A Chinese princess is traveling from London to Oxford. The British government has arranged an armed escort for her security. The princess asks why such security is needed. The British official replies that their government values the relationship with China greatly and doesn't want any mistake. But shortly after, some looters arrive there, capture her, and are taking the girl as a captive. On the way, she snatches a gun from one of them and kills the 2 people behind. When she is about to kill the last one, her bullets run out, and he takes out a knife, but that girl turned out to be a fighter and fights him very skillfully, defeats him soundly, mounts her horse, and... After that, we see Sherlock, who is serving tea to Professor Thompson. The professor asks him what he is doing. Sherlock says he is cleaning. The professor scolds him and tells him not to stick his nose where he hasn't been called. The professor shows his new book, Intellectual Arithmetic, which has just been published. Sherlock asks the professor for permission to read the book. The professor gives it, and Sherlock tells his name. The professor says the name is atypical, but he is pleased to see Sherlock's interest in mathematics, and Sherlock takes his book and leaves from there. One day, Smudger sends Sherlock to deliver something in a room. Going there, he sees that the room belongs to the Chinese princess. The princess asks him to put the stuff on the table, and when Sherlock is about to leave, she stops him and asks him in Mandarin how a college servant can speak the Mandarin of Gansu province. Sherlock replies that he worked with a shoemaker in Whitechapel who was from Dunong. The princess says his pronunciation is very bad, but it is understandable. The princess also asks if that shoemaker was an alcoholic. Sherlock says yes, that was the reason for his slurred speech. Meanwhile, Sir Bucephalus Hodge arrives there. He announces his new science building and introduces his special students, the Hodge students, who will become generals and prime ministers in the future. Sir Hodge's eyes fall on Sherlock and tries to recognize who this boy is. Mycroft is there and tells him that this is his younger brother. Sir Hodge is very surprised as to how Mycroft's brother is a servant here. Sherlock explains that he is here for redemption because he was previously in jail. Sir Hodge asks Sherlock what his crime was. Sherlock jokingly says it was subtraction loss, thievery, but he has now retired. He used to subtract before, now he adds, reborn to serve. Sir Hodge says to Mycroft, the most interesting thing about you is your brother. The next day, Professor Thompson's class is going on. He is solving a mathematics problem but is doing it incorrectly. Sherlock, who is working there as a servant, corrects him. The professor realizes that Sherlock has read his book. He says that even some of his students cannot study this. When the class ends, the professor gives everyone an equation for which they have to find the solutions. When no one is there, Sherlock comes there and starts solving those problems. Then, a student sitting behind comes there and gives him the solution, telling his name is James, and after that day, they become good friends. Moriarty asks Sherlock to go to a party with him. As soon as they enter the party, Sherlock runs into a rich man who says to him, "What is a servant doing here?" Just then, a boy named Peregrine arrives. He challenges Sherlock that both of them should make deductions about each other and see who wins. Looking at Sherlock's hands, Peregrine says he doesn't have calluses, which means he doesn't do work and is just a servant, therefore lazy. Looking at his ring, Sherlock says his ancestors were the Counts of Boulogne who fought in the Battle of Hastings, but he wears the ring turned inward, which shows he hides his true nobility. Peregrine is humiliated, and everyone laughs. The next morning, Sherlock is accused of stealing scrolls. Smudger tells him the police are coming and that he had the key to the library. Mycroft also arrives and a police officer named Lestrade comes to arrest Sherlock. Mycroft stops him and says he will investigate himself. Sherlock and Mycroft go to the library from where the scrolls were stolen. There, Sherlock sees a hole in a window and looks at the clock, which had stopped at 10:06. The princess also arrives there and says she will help in the investigation because the scrolls belong to her father. Sir Hodge also arrives and says that Sherlock is the thief. Princess rejects Lestrade's investigation and starts looking for clues with Sherlock herself. They find footprints leading to a carriage and discover that one wheel of the carriage was broken. Sherlock becomes convinced that the thief must have taken the carriage to the stagecoach inn to get the wheel repaired, and they head towards that place. There, they sit at a spot where they find a man a bit odd, which raises their suspicion. When that man goes out, Sherlock also follows him, but the man attacks him from behind and punches him hard, causing him to fall. But before he could cause more harm to Sherlock, his friend arrives and saves him. However, the man runs away from there. They both chase him. Sherlock, as we know, was very clever, so while recalling what had just happened behind him, he gets lost in his own world of thoughts, where he wonders why didn't he kill me and why did he stop his hand. His friend, who is as clever as Sherlock, also enters that world of thought with Sherlock, and he says that was because I had already arrived there. After that, while chasing him, they arrive at a place where the man catches Sherlock, but his friend comes from behind and knocks him unconscious. But they see that he doesn't have the scrolls with him. They get lost in thought again, and from all the evidence they had found, they realized that the scrolls are still somewhere inside the university. After that, they are sitting in the same library thinking about where they could have gone. Then Sherlock notices that the statue in front has been moved from its place and tells his friend that a worker named Walker works here. He has a condition that he can't sit comfortably until he puts everything back in its place. So what is this statue doing here? This makes them suspicious, and when they move the statue from there, they finally find the scrolls. Sherlock says that if the thief wanted the library to be closed, he would stage a theft of the scrolls and then hide inside, waiting for everything to become quiet. They find a display case that was previously on top of a cabinet, but that cabinet is now gone. Sherlock remembers that this room was a medieval refectory 400 years ago, where there were 5 corridors, 1 for the Normans, 2 for the people, and 2 for the kitchen servants, which have now been walled up. They knock on the wall and find a secret corridor where the cabinet was hidden. Inside the cabinet, there is a bomb with a timer set to explode in 90 seconds. Sherlock gets out through the chimney and arrives directly at Sir Hodge's gala ball, where Hodge is giving a speech. Sherlock tells everyone about the bomb and saves everyone. Everyone is safe before the bomb explodes. Hodge is very angry and says that whoever is responsible for this, he will tear them to pieces. Later, James and Sherlock are sitting in a room. After a while, the princess also arrives there. The princess thanks Sherlock for finding the scrolls. Sherlock says he was just the accompaniment. The princess says he is the main course. The princess offers Sherlock a drink and says that his partner, James Moriarty, is a genius, but less than Sherlock. She toasts to Sherlock's extraordinary future. Sherlock is about to leave from there, but stops to pick up a piece that had fallen there. The princess says she will clean it, but Sherlock doesn't listen. However, she makes him drink something which starts to make him unconscious. Suddenly, Sherlock has a flashback from his childhood. He was playing with his little sister, Beatrice. She says to him, "Come play with me, Sherlock," but he doesn't play. Then his mother comes and says, "Play with her." Then his sister disappears. His father screams, "Beatrice, where is she?" The mother has fallen, and little Sherlock is trying to wake her up. Then the scene comes back to the present. Someone has poisoned Professor Charles, and he falls down. Sherlock is taken to jail. And this is where this part of this amazing movie ends. If you like such fun stories, subscribe to the channel and like the video. See you in the next video. Until then, take care.